fraud scheme that impacted hundreds of people who tried to book a cruise. Nearly 2 years ago, WMAR News' Mallory Safaste reported on a travel agent accused of committing credit card fraud and the many disappointed passengers whose trips were canceled. She now has an update on the investigation into Hopkins Travel Services because if it matters to you, it's a matter for Mallory.
Back in September of 2019, we knew federal authorities were looking into this. The cruise line told us. Now many victims are hearing directly from the FBI, notifying them that they've been identified as a potential victim of a crime. This weekend, Regan had plans. She thought she'd be sailing around the Greek islands with 120 of her friends.
May 2nd, coming up.
But shortly after making the arrangements in 2019, Karen learned that trip at the discounted rate they all paid wasn't happening.
Everything was legit. Our reservations were on the Norwegian website. When we looked up our account, it was all there. And we all made our payments, full payments, and then we got canceled.
The travel agent, Diana Hopkins, is accused of committing credit card fraud, using other people's cards to pay the full balance for customers' trips. Norwegian Cruise Line caught on and canceled all her trips, impacting hundreds of people, many of them in our area.
She was from Dundalk, went to high school with other people I knew in another group that were going on the cruise. So, it wasn't just her scamming random strangers. She was scamming her own friends, her high school friends.
After people learned of the alleged fraud, some passengers were able to get refunds. Others are still fighting.
120 people I had in my group, everybody got their money back, but there are hundreds of people that are still out thousands of dollars.
And for months, they've heard nothing until recently. Did you think you'd be hearing from them?
I was hoping to hear from them a long time ago, but better late than never, I guess.
The FBI issued this letter to potential victims of the alleged fraud scheme.
Asking, when did you make your payment? How much did you pay? What was offered to you with that payment? Things of that nature.
The letter states FBI's Tampa field office identified Hopkins Travel Services as a business that allegedly operated a fraud scheme between January 1st, 2017 and December 31st, 2019. In the alleged scheme, victims used the travel service to book and pay for cruises, but HTS applied the victims' payments to other clients' travel or used payments for other purposes. We asked the FBI how many people received this letter. They said they cannot comment on the specifics of an investigation. The letter indicates there are a large number of possible victims.
First and foremost, contact with victims is important in terms of building the investigation.
Acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Maryland, John Lesner, is not involved in the case, but he knows the process.
In many cases, we seek restitution on behalf of the victims. And it's important for us to be in contact with victims of a fraud scheme so we can be assured that the victims are made whole at the end of the case.
No charges have been filed. However, Lesner said that's not uncommon. Evidence gathering, including corroborating victims' accounts and financial statements, takes time.
Unfortunately, many fraud schemes in general can take many months, even years to investigate. And then if charges are brought, a criminal prosecution can last a year or multiple years.
U.S. Attorney Lesner said victims have a right to contact law enforcement for an update. However, the FBI may not be able to provide any additional information. The FBI added if you receive a victim notification letter to follow the directions provided.
That was Mallory Safaste reporting, and to see all of her reporting on this story, head to WMAR2news.com/matterformallory. If you have a matter for Mallory, she'd love to hear from you. You can email her at mallory@WMAR.com.